Hello, I'm Ben Buss. I'm so glad that you could join me this Good Friday. Looking back, on Palm Sunday, we heard about Jesus riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, and the people waving their palms and cheering for Jesus. And then we made popcorn prayer chains for those times that we have prayers that just build up and pop out of us. Then on Maundy, Thursday, we heard that after dinner, Jesus took his disciples off to a garden, and then he went off to pray to God, asking for help on his path. And when he returned, Jesus was arrested, and all of his disciples deserted him. Then we did an activity with a finger labyrinth where we learned that we can pray to God, asking for help on our path. At the end of Maundy, Thursday, there's no liturgical color, and it stays that way until Easter morning, which is why I'm wearing black. Today, we're learning about Good Friday. Even though the things we hear are sad and maybe even a little scary, we call the day good because it is tied to the resurrection of Easter Sunday. Let's see what our Whirl Story Bible says. When Jesus died, 3 crosses stood on a hill. Jesus' cross was in the middle. 2 criminals were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. There were nails in Jesus' hands and feet, holding him to the cross. He wore a crown like a king, but it was a crown made of thorns. The soldiers and religious leaders laughed and shouted cruel things at Jesus. "Hail the King of the Jews!" "He's not such a king now. If you're the Son of God, save yourself." Jesus prayed, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they are doing." Jesus' friends and family knelt by the cross. They cried and prayed. 2 of the people by the cross were Jesus' mother and a disciple. Jesus said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son." He said to the disciple, "Here is your mother." From that time on, the disciple took Jesus' mother into his home. One of the criminals mocked Jesus. "If you're the Messiah, save yourself and us." But the criminal on the other side said, "This man, Jesus, has done nothing wrong." He then said to Jesus, "When you come into your kingdom, remember me." "I will always remember you," Jesus said. "You are with me today and forever." Jesus prayed to God. His voice was weak and quiet and tired. "Father, into your hands I give my spirit." Then Jesus breathed his last breath and died. That's a really sad story. But we learn on Easter that this is not the end of the story. In our story today, we learned that people who were angry with Jesus and scared of Jesus had him put to death. This was a scary and sad time for people who loved and followed Jesus. They didn't understand why this was happening. Jesus was supposed to be the one who freed them, so they didn't know why Jesus hadn't used his power to escape from being put to death. Some people in the crowd were very mean to Jesus, but we hear that he forgave them. When Jesus was on the cross, he saw some of the people who loved him. They were very sad about what was happening. Before he died, Jesus told his mother and one of the disciples that they needed to care for each other like they were family now. And after being told that, the disciple took Jesus' mother, Mary, to live with him so that they could be there for each other like mother and child. When we're sad, it can help us to have someone there to help care for us and listen to us. Here are some questions that you can discuss with those around you. While hanging on the cross, Jesus wore a crown of thorns. When you touch a thorn, how does it feel? When people are mean to you, can you forgive them? And how does it feel to forgive people? Now, remember that forgiveness doesn't mean we keep letting people hurt us. And who do you rely on to care for you and listen to you when you are sad? These are tough questions. Pause the video and take as much time as you want to discuss these with those around you. I hope that you had a good discussion. For our prayer activity today, we're each going to be making a prayer jar. Here is an example of one that I made. What you'll need would be a container such as a coffee tin, jar, a mug or cup, or I'm going to use this can from some beans I made for dinner the other night. Any container about that size will do. I wouldn't get much bigger than that. You'll also need some colorful markers, a black thin tip marker, some tape, some craft sticks. If you got one of the activity kits from Gethsemane, there are some inside. Some paper. Colored paper like construction paper works really well. I'm going to use this white paper. And if you have some stickers or other fun things to decorate with, that's good too. The first thing you'll need to do is figure out how much paper you need to cover your container. And then cut or fold it so that it fits. And then you can decorate your paper. However you'd like is fine. I'm going to draw some flowers. A little bit of sun. You can decorate it however you would like. Have it be something that you think is fun, that you'll want to keep looking at in the future. Once you've decorated your paper, you can tape it around your container. Feel free to ask for help if that would make life easier. Once you've taped the paper onto the container, you can set that aside for now. And then take out your craft sticks. Think about those people who bring you comfort when you're sad. Write the name of people and pets down on one end of the stick. I'm going to write my wife. As you write each name, say a prayer of thanks to God for giving you such special people in your life. And I'm going to write Harmony for one of our dogs. And I'm going to write Jessie for the other one. Then, take out your colorful markers again and color the other end of the sticks. Make them fun. I'm going to stick with my plant theme, but you can do whatever brings you joy in this. The goal here is to put things on these that will comfort you when you're sad. When you're done coloring your craft sticks, place them into your container, name side down so that the colorful part is up. And then, when you're feeling sad, you can pull out one of the sticks and think about that person or pet and know that you are not alone, even though you're sad. Remember, it's okay to feel sad sometimes. Find people to talk to when you're sad. You can also always talk to God in prayer because God is always with you and God always loves you. And like Jesus said in our story today, Jesus will always remember you and you are with Jesus today and forever. Also remember that this story about Jesus dying on the cross is not the end of the story. The story continues on Easter. I also invite everybody, infants through grade 5, to come for an Easter egg hunt at Gethsemane Lutheran Church this Saturday, April 8th at 11 a.m.